Biochemist Michael Morbius tries to...
No, we're talking about the Jersey Devil today.
Sal, is it Morbin time?
Oh, yeah, get morbed.
Funny side note, before we talk about the Jersey Devil, we've had a gaming channel on the side that I've mentioned here and there, but not like really heavily promoted. The latest video, it's about a vampire blood hunt kind of game, and I named it It's Morbin Time, and it's doing really well.
Hey!
That's
I'm
great.
glad someone's succeeding out of it.
Oh man,
That was the game you had us play, Dan, the blood hunt game.
Yeah,
I called it
Vampire
Morbin
Masquerade. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Because it's
Nice.
probably going to make more money than Morbius' second release, where it made $84,000, averaging at $84 at theater.
That right there, and this is a discussion for another video on this channel, but the fact that they did that tells you Sony has no idea what they're doing.
They
don't know meme culture.
They have a Madam Web movie. It's being made. Like, it's over. They have no jokes are real, and Sony is never going to change.
So, okay, back to the topic at hand. Today we're going to be discussing the Jersey Devil. I hyped it up last time, but then I surprised you guys with a guest appearance. So, Gary, Sal wasn't even on that. Did you miss our show last week, Sal? Did you miss talking about... Did you? Oh, I feel good.
Yeah.
It actually just ended up with Sal getting most of last week off of doing podcasting with us.
That's true, which was really nice.
So, Jersey Devil. The problem I was running into with this one is I was looking for a recent sighting. The most recent sighting I was able to find is 2015.
Okay.
So, I'm going to show you guys this one because it's a video.
Ooh.
But before we do that, I need to explain what is the Jersey Devil? Why is this a thing? So, the Jersey Devil is known to exist in the southern New Jersey area and Philadelphia folklore of the United States. The Jersey Devil is a legendary creature said to inhabit the forest of Pine Barrens, South Jersey.
Yep.
The creature is often described as a flying biped with hooves, but there are many variations. The common description is that a bipedal kangaroo-like or wyvern-like creature with a horse or goat head, leathery bat wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, and legs with cloven hooves, and a forked tail. It's been reported to move quickly and is often described as emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. Now, before we go into the 13 times that it has been noted to exist, and people believe these to be the 13 verified appearances of the Jersey Devil.
13, really?
And we go into our current one that came out in 2015. Sal, as a Jerseyite, is that what you call yourselves?
Sure.
What do you have any personal experience with this cryptozoology character?
I'm familiar with it. I know the story. As a small child, I was captivated by the concept of us having a local thing. Back in the day, Jersey wasn't like a meme. It wasn't like it wasn't just used as a fun backdrop for a lot of different things. Or if it was like really like tangential. Nowadays, New Jersey, it's like, oh well, of course it happens in New Jersey, but. It put us on the map for me. I'm like, hey, the Jersey Devil, cool. But the story is lame, and the concept is disappointing. And for the longest time, it used to be like the size of a chupacabra. Like, it used to be that it was like the size of like a little person and not like a big, cool demon. Like, the idea of a demon just soaring over our heads at all times in the night and eating, pets and small children and things. This is an awesome concept. Sadly, it was like, oh, if you were dumb enough to keep chickens in New Jersey, the Jersey Devil would get it. Like, oh no. But again, not real and totally fake. The fakest. Because
you got to start with that. That's the concept of the show. No, but the goal of the show is to see if I can change Sal or my other guests' minds of where they currently stand based on actual sightings and recent evidence. Dan, what do you think about the Jersey Devil before we go into this?
Well, first up, I thought it was hilarious because the way that Sal said that in my head, I was picturing, those signs when you're like going down a road and it's like, speed limit enforced by aircraft. I'm just picturing speed limit enforced by Jersey Devil. And it's just come down. Yeah, speed.
Exactly. And it just picks you up with its cloven hooves.
Honestly, this is one of those ones that it's, like Sal said, if it was like like a smaller thing, I'd be like, okay, that's...
No, that's what they think it is.
Yeah, you can't prove that it is or is not. Like, that's one of those things that's actually kind of cool. But... there are some where it's like, oh no, it's a full like 2 times the size of a human. And it's like, no, it's not. No, that's when you reach the fake territory. If it's small, then you can come up with some theories. When it's big, that's when you're reaching into it's the harder to prove territory.
Well, it doesn't hurt that it's in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, which are notoriously large, and like it's a big wooded area, densely packed with trees and foliage and expansive, huge different swath of area, and with different types of wildlife and vegetation. So things, people, creatures could exist in the Pine Barrens and do. There you can camp there, but
how close are you to the Pine Barrens?
I'm like 2 hours away. It's actually a real pain in the butt to get to the Pine Barrens for me. But again, like the most densely populated state in the country, they'd notice a big flying demon monster. That's why I think if there were to be a Jersey Devil, it would have to be like the traditional Jersey Devil, which is the smaller one.
Yeah.
That said, also, I gotta tell you, the Jersey Devil needs a complete revamp because from stem to stern, like from the origin of it being, a pioneer's woman is giving birth to her 13th child, which is why I was like, 13 sightings. Wow. Because it's the 13th child, too. That's what he's called. I think there's horrible movies being called that, about the Jersey Devil. But her 13th child, I believe she uttered the phrase, let this one be the devil. Like she's, basically her husband couldn't keep his hands off her. And, so she's having so many freaking children. And they live in a shack in the woods. And the Jersey Devil.
As you do.
Yeah. And her 13th child was the Jersey Devil. And, killed them and knocked over their shack, and thus the legend was born. And then in 1909, they drew this horrible-looking, crappy picture of it, which just looks like a rejected Muppet more than a creature of death and legend. That being said, like I said, redesign the origin, redesign the creature, redesign its habits, and get us some well-paid extras to give us some first-hand accounts, because that's what all these are, right? I mean, it's all fake. So just get some fake people to say some fake stuff and get it going again, because the best thing that came out of this myth was our hockey team.
All right. Well, so when I got to the 13 sightings that are considered the most warranted, I thought this was more legitimate than it is because it's NJ.com, which I thought was New Jersey.
NJ.com.
But it's not org. It's not
That's our real website.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay, so it is.
NJ.com is a real website.
From New Jersey, these are the ones that they count as being actual 13. So we'll do these, and then I'll give you the 2015 one. We'll go through these quickly.
All right, great.
Okay, so first up, we have the very first sighting.
Yeah.
It was 1735, in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, where Jane Mother Leeds discovered she was pregnant with her 13th child. Let this one be the devil, she allegedly cursed it. Yeah. While there are many versions of the Jersey Devil's lore, the most popular is this. When Lee's 13th child was born, it grew wings, horns, hooves, and a tail, flew up the chimney and into the night. With Halloween upon, and then they go into because this was done during Halloween. So
yeah, and I'd heard it killed her. I'd heard it destroyed the shack. I've heard different variations, but because that's the best version of the origin. That's probably the most accurate because it's the most lame.
So this is the original sketches of what the Jersey Devil was supposed to look like.
Yeah, when you're first hearing about it, you're like, Jersey Devil, cool, and then you see it, you're like, oh. Oh, that's really disappointing.
That's really disappointing.
I mean, and honestly, in 1909, you're living in the woods in New Jersey. Everything's being lit by crappy electricity or candles, and you see a deer head out in the woods. Maybe you see some foliage that doesn't look quite right. Boom, you got yourself a Jersey Devil. Or and maybe earlier that day, a bear or a coyote killed your livestock. And then you see this, because listen, deer are gross and horrible, and they also, I've seen horrible things in this world, especially thanks to the internet, and they've depicted hunters who just hurt animal, they shoot an animal, they think they got it or that it'll die, and then they just let it go. And then you see their antlers are ripped off, and they're I'm saying, you see a mutilated deer, you could think it's a demon of some kind.
Yeah, I can see that, especially back then. At least now with weapons like that, they kind of go right through. But
they usually annihilate the beast, but back then, with a rifle or a bow and arrow, I mean, even up until probably the last 20 years or so. There was more likelihood that you're going to see a horrific deer versus just a dead one. Again, if we're going to attribute these sightings to anything as opposed to nothing, which is mostly what these are.
This is from 1909. The next sighting of the Jersey Devil was actually Napoleon's older brother, Joseph Bonaparte. Claimed he saw it while hunting near the Bordertown estate.
That's pretty cool. And Bordentown is pretty much where those myths arise. It's pretty much like where Mother Leeds was located. I love that. I think that's really cool that like Napoleon's brother.
Yeah, 1812. Napoleon's brother was the next
not
big
bad.
sighting.
That's a pretty. I mean, like, because what does he have to gain from lying about that, right? Now that being said, what did he probably see? I don't know.
Who knows? Because they just did a sketch in the newspaper. I mean,
Yeah, and that sketch in the newspaper is way more interesting. First of all, at least the size of a man. Secondly, looks more like a dragon.
yeah. Next up, and this is where a lot of it started from, in 1909, there was over 1,000 reports that came in of the New Jersey Devil being sighted in South Jersey. Apparently, it was while testing cannonballs at the mill works in Pine Barrens, the Navy commander reportedly saw the creature and shot it.
Ooh.
The cannonball blew a hole in the devil, but it wasn't phased. Strange tracks were found in the fields, with bloodhounds allegedly refusing to follow the tracks.
That's kind of cool.
That's a dope story.
Yeah.
I think they could have left out the cannonball hitting it part because it's
You
like,
know
oh,
that was
come
some
on.
like Navy captain, like, guys, I also hit it. I also shot it.
Right? A cannonball went clean through it, and it just kept coming. Like, shut up, man. Just we're already dazzled. We don't need you to put it over the top.
But Sal, you don't understand. I'm that good of a shot with a cannonball, and like it went right through the monster.
No, yeah, we get it. We're not questioning your manhood at all. Congratulations. But 1,000 reports? That's not bad. Like, that's cool. What is it then? Like, now, that being said, I'll tell you a quick story. One time I was taking a walk. This is about a year or two ago, during COVID. I'm taking a walk down by the lake. I got this lake near me. And I'm just walking. And a crane didn't see me and landed about 3 feet away from me. Now, I've seen cranes before. You've seen cranes before in the water. This crane lands, and its wingspan is at least 6 feet, if not more. It was like a dinosaur landed. Like, it was just, I felt the wind of its wings, like, blow into me. And I was just like, and I went, whoa! And then the crane realized there was a person there, went, ah! And then took off! Like, went, whoo! Like Superman. And I was like, that was awesome! Now, that was a crane, a thing that I could draw from memory.
Right.
And it blew my mind. So, I can imagine that in 1909, there might have been all kinds of large aviary creatures. We in this area alone, we have turkey vultures. We have regular vultures.
What's a turkey vulture?
A turkey vulture is exactly what it sounds like. It's a vulture that looks like a turkey and makes a horrible turkey sound that could be mistaken for a Jersey Devil howl. They're huge. They eat carrion. They kill smaller creatures, and there are like a bunch of them.
You got Dad Googling this.
I'm looking up a turkey vulture. I just wanted to see what it is. Okay.
And they're crazy looking, and they're scary, and they're huge. And there have only been more of them as I've gotten older. And it's just like, who knows? Maybe there were only one of them down there. Maybe they were migrating. But again, like, I've seen some crazy flying creatures in my life that if I wasn't in my right mind, or if I was maybe a more God-fearing individual in the turn of the century, I might have been like, whoa, it's the devil himself. But I mean, like, to get like the Navy involved, it had to have been pretty freaking big.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and 1,000 people reported seeing this thing.
Yeah.
The next noted sighting was in 1927. In Salem City, apparently the Jersey Devil attacked a taxi driver by attacking the roof of his cab.
I'd heard this story as well. I think I've heard a lot of these stories now that I'm thinking about it. I remember hearing the story about the Jersey Devil attacking a cab. That's all I heard.
And then in 1960, they put up the reward, $250,000.
Like,
if you could get us a Jersey Devil.
You're 40 years too late, buddy. But, cool. Yeah, I mean, like, and listen, $250,000, nothing to sneeze at, especially in the 60s.
In the 60s, that happened. It was a circus owner who wanted the real one, offered $250,000. The police then hung up flyers stating that the Jersey Devil was a hoax.
Yeah.
The circus owner countered by offering $100,000 to anyone that could capture the creature.
I love that. They're like, well, because we don't want people just shooting guns into the sky. We're trying to, like, live here. It's the 60s, for God's sake. This isn't the turn of the century. We're not, like, hunting bison, you know? Still.
This led up to 1972 when a woman claimed she got the heebie-jeebies when she spotted it one night.
Love the
textbook.
The heebie-jeebies.
She was driving from Blackwood to Glassboro, where she says she saw a towering figure crossing the road 25 feet behind her car, describing the figure as standing taller than an average man, its thick haunches of a goat, and a huge woolly head.
I will also say I've seen bears walk on their hind legs, and that's also like a horrifying
sight,
especially if you're in the presence of them. And, it looks like a dude in a suit. Like, a bear on its hind legs, like, they walk really well, they're fast. If I was driving along in the 70s, I mean, the other thing is, okay, this is the 70s. I'm going to tell you a little story. Six Flags Great Adventure, Warner Brothers, sponsored a kind of like safari park called Jungle Habitat, which is abandoned. You can go there. It's actually a bike trail now. It was so inappropriate. My father went here and took, like, kids from a previous marriage here back in West Milford in New Jersey. This was a thing where you drove your car and you could encounter lions and other animals that absolutely have no business being in New Jersey.
Okay.
And you could just feed them at the window of your car. They were just like, don't open your window, the lion will eat you. And they were like, oh, but the lions could jump on your car and run around. And I remember hearing a rumor that, like, when they closed, they went out of business and they just let them go.
What's it called? Jungle Habitat?
Jungle Habitat. They just were like, oh, well, that didn't work out. So they released all the birds. So, like, crazy birds that had no business being in this ecosystem just released into the wild. And I heard a rumor, and I remember, like, my friend living in West Milford at the time, he talked about how a tiger used to be sighted on a regular basis for a while. But zebras and other animals that, again, had no business being in, like, in the New Jersey.
I remember hearing rumors like that as well. Because I grew up in Rhode Island, so you'd always have, like, weird animals in the area, and you hear, like, well, a circus truck overturned, and the coyotes and the hyenas got free, and now they've been breeding in the wild here in Rhode Island, and it's like, what?
in New Jersey, we've had I know of at least 3 weird zoos that had no business being open, that were open.
You also have Action Park.
Action Park, yeah, which is still open, and I could go. And I used to go there. I used to go to Action Park. I've hurt myself at Action Park, but
oh, dude, you need a badge because that's like a thing. Like you hurt yourself and survived.
Yeah. There's a ride at Action Park where there's just a cliff. You could jump high into the water. That's not a ride. That's a dare. So, but that's cool. But yeah, but like I said, at least 3 zoos in the last 45 years that had giraffes that are run by a guy named Mark. It was just like, yeah, you could. I got one of them those gumball machines. I got it filled with Lucky Charms. You put a quarter in, you feed the giraffe out of your hand. Real thing. I did it. Like, real thing. And they just went like, oh, well, the state showed up and that was that, So I let them all out.
Goodbye, giraffe.
Clearly, I don't have any regard for these creatures because I run a zoo. So off they go. And so I can imagine that, like, if you were 1972 and you saw, like, a thing at the end of the road, it could be a bear, but it could also just easily be, like, a tapir or, or a giraffe or a lion, because in 1972, we were just playing fast and loose with wild creatures that had no business being in our ecosystem. Anyway.
That leads to 2 forest rangers found in wildlife when they went on patrol in 1980. They found something that grossed him out and stumped his wild animal knowledge. A brutal scene on a Jersey farm where a pack of pigs had been killed.
Okay.
The backs of their heads had been eaten, their bodies scratched and torn. However, there was no tracks around them and no blood.
That one I'm going to chalk up to coyotes. And the reason why I'm going to chalk it up to coyotes is because I've seen the devastation wrought by coyotes.
Oh, yeah. They just go crazy.
They just go, well, and they're light, and they they just look like mangy dogs. So like they're just dogs, you know, and they're malnourished because they eat what dogs eat, you know. So it's like if there's no large enough animal to sustain them, they're gonna be like really thin and mangy. So I can imagine coyotes.
Next up, 1988, there was a resident who claimed to encounter the Jersey Devil 7 years prior.
Oh, okay. So 81. Really?
Yeah, but they only reported this in 1988.
Okay, so just a liar. Cool.
And then I like this. The image here is from X-Files. They say it right beneath it. This is from X-Files.
I saw this picture. I was like, wow, they got a picture? That's David Duchovny. What the hell?
Next up, we got dirt bikes. Late 80s, a group of friends went camping, riding dirt bikes. They were riding on a trail about 100 yards from the camp. The bikes all stalled. Now it has the ability to stall bikes. Just a heads up.
All right. New powers.
It makes sense.
One said it could have been the terrain or the nearby power plant. However, as suddenly as the bikes quit running, they heard a piercing, inhuman scream coming out of the woods. They returned to the camp, and those who stayed behind said they also heard the screams. That evening, they all went to the local bar and told the bartender about the screams, and the man informed the visitor that he had most likely had an encounter with the Jersey Devil.
Or a fox, because foxes make a sound in the woods when they're mating that is not unlike a woman shrieking. And
No, they go ning, 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 ning.
that is what the fox say. I will tell you, look, Google it, YouTube it, pull up what foxes sound like in the night, and it'll sound like just women screaming their heads off, and it's like, that's eerie AF.
I like this one. 1993, a ranger said he was stopped on driving on the road, driving along the river because the creature was 6 feet tall with horns and matted black hair. They stared each other down for several minutes before it turned and ran into the forest.
Okay, I can't imagine a forest ranger putting himself out on a line like that, but okay. No, he didn't.
Now we've stopped giving dates, it looks like. One evening while taking out the trash, the owner of a Smithville Inn said they saw a strange shadow projected on the wall behind her. 10 feet tall and stopping traffic on Route 9. 3 cars were forced to slam on their brakes, but according to one eyewitness, a 10-foot... This is what you were talking about. It's been getting bigger and bigger. We're at 10 feet tall now.
Well, obviously it's got to grow over the years. I mean, come on.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and you know what? Look, in 1909... You know, a child-sized creature would do it, but like in the 80s and 90s, we gotta up the ante.
Yeah.
So that leads us to the most recent sighting, which is reported on ABC News.
That's a real thing.
That's
okay. So here is the sighting, guys, and I've linked this. So to go into the video if you're watching this on Absolutely.
Did you see it? Look again. No.
9 miles away from you, wherever you are.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Did this make you a believer?
Just fake. Just not even like embarrassingly fake.
I don't know if that was like a recreation. I will verify that of the video.
No, I think
because none of this says it. It just talks about his photo, and then we have a full video of this thing flying.
Maybe it was a recreation of what he saw.
I was gonna say, because I would believe it more on just that photo than I would of that video. And
hold on.
Even I'm like...
They showed that video because they were showing the photo, which supposedly proved this thing is real. That video is a shared video allegedly showing the animal less than 9 miles from where Black said his encounter took place.
Oh, okay. So they have 2 liars.
So there's the photo. This is the photo.
Right. And then 9 miles away, there was this video.
Yeah, 9 miles away, we had this video of this thing flying.
Oh, show it again.
That sucks so much.
So we've hit the inevitable point of our video.
Right.
Do you guys believe in the Jersey Devil now?
I mean, with this irrefutable proof, I gotta tell you. No, man. No. Horrible.
Dan?
Oh my gosh.
What are your thoughts after all of this and us ending with that?
No, I was actually this entire time, like, I was trying to think of a cooler story, because it, like, the origin of it sounds kind of cool, right? It sounds like, the 13th child, bad family stuff, but it turns into a devil immediately. And I'm like, nah, it would be cooler if the child was born, then grew up into this devil-like creature, killed his family, probably ate them, then flew off and becomes basically like, I mean, you could explain a goat's head with the fact that he went into the woods, ate a goat, and wore the head as a helmet.
Hey, there
That's
we
not
go.
an abnormal thing.
All right.
And then I started thinking into like the whole Baphomet, like satanic church and all of that. So I actually did a little Googling of that. There's nothing related.
It's not going to work with this?
No. But honestly, no. The picture you show is quite literally
Oh, go.
a pinata.
Like a doll or a pinata, yeah.
It's something like that either is being hung from a tree or someone got on a catapult and launched it, and they're like, okay, get ready to take a picture. And then the video itself, like, you can tell that's like a stuffed animal horse head.
They're just hanging, like it's on a string, and they're using maybe they're using like After Effects, something like that, to add the wings to it. But
Either that or like maybe they got a bird and literally just stuck this head on it and like taped it on, and then just let the bird fly, and we're like, oh, this looks believable.
yeah, that's close enough.
No, you know what? I usually believe in a lot of things. This is not one of them. This is. I would believe in my
I
personal
really
story
thought the
of-
video would get Sal to
It's
change
creepy.
his mind. Like, Sal, I have irrefutable proof now. I have a video of a
have a
Jersey
video.
Devil.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
no. Sorry.
So, all right. Well, as has happened, I think 6 episodes before this, the answer is nope, my friends.
Sorry.
I'm sorry I did not convince them to be believers in the Jersey Devil. Thank you for watching another episode of Nope. If you enjoy this show, let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, G Fuel. Use the code COMICS at checkout. Get yourself 10% off of your order. The one right here is the Tiny Tina flavor. The new Doctor Strange flavor is tangerines. You should check that out as well. And on that note, another episode of Note. Our mystery has been concluded. I'll see you guys next time right here.